Hi, I'm Sarah,
And I'm Alec.
and this is Sarah Offstage, where we talk about theater, events, and experiences in Southern California and beyond. We got to see the Comedy of Errors at Griffith Park, put on by the independent Shakespeare Company. For those who aren't familiar with Comedy of Errors, it's about a festival that's about to take place on the island of Ephesus, and there are two brothers, each with their own servant who has the same name, and in this production's case are pretty much dressed identically, so it's kind of a mistaken identity play, and it is a comedy of Shakespeare's. I think there was a very clear aesthetic vision for this. I would hesitate to even call it overly minimalist. It very much gave me Mamma Mia vibes in terms of the aesthetic. It felt very vacation on an island kind of aesthetic, which I thought was fun, and I liked it because it feels very summery, and we're seeing this in summer, and I like that. This production uses music and a live band. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was fun, it fit the vibe, I liked the music, I thought it was really catchy, and I felt that the lyrics felt in line with the play. Nothing felt really out of place to me. The performances were great from the musicians, great performance from the singer, who's kind of a jazz kind of club singer.
It utilizes live music, but the band itself is also in character. Each band member is also a character in the play, and they show up at different times, and it's all kind of connected in universe stuff.
They're ensemble members.
Yeah, the drummer is the jeweler, and there's two police officers that are also in the band.
And the doctor.
And the doctor, it's all connected to be in universe too.
And I feel like it makes sense, and it feels appropriate that these people who live on the island, also are getting ready for the festival.
Yeah.
They have a little band and stuff. I think it's fun. Because I was particularly impressed with the music, I'm excited to see David Melville's new musical that he's created later this year, because he composed and wrote all the music for this show. But yeah, very lighthearted. I enjoyed the aesthetics and the music. I think the music really added to the show. What makes me hesitate to call it fully minimalist is that I feel like they still managed to have almost set pieces. They had enough props that they would bring on and off stage. They had a door for the part where Antipholus is trying to get into his house and can't. They had side tables and things like that to set dress the interior of the home. I didn't feel that it was missing anything in terms of props or set dressing.
This is all in the round. Indie Shakes, every production they do is in the round. The door, it was a standout moment for me because you have a big rectangular piece of wood that would block the view, but they put it on wheels to actually rotate 360 that scene where they're trying to get into the door and he can't. So you see every angle of it, and everyone is able to see it at least once as they kind of rotate and spin around at the same time.
Yeah, I was very impressed by Melissa Chalma's direction in this production, because I think that she knows how to stage things and utilize the round. Like you were saying, having the door on wheels, being able to spin it so that everyone kind of gets a chance to see both sides of the characters on the door. And just in general, the blocking I think was good. I feel as though regardless of where I would have sat on either side of the stage, I would have still had a good view of most of the production, which I think is really important. And sometimes when you're directing something, you can kind of get caught up in wherever you're standing and looking at it from that perspective of the traditional kind of proscenium stage, in which there's audience only on one side. Staging for a round is more complicated because you need to be thinking of all the perspectives of where people will be sitting and what they'll be able to see. There's nothing worse than watching something in the round and realizing you picked the wrong side, that they're not cheating out in your direction, so you're not able to you're just looking at people's backs for a lot of the time. I like the costumes. I feel again, they really fit with the kind of island vacation kind of aesthetic. They were colorful, they were fun. I like the color palette. I like that while you're supposed to not really be easily able to tell Antipholus and the Dromios apart, they had the same costumes, but there were slight differences. Like the rim of the hat was a different color, or the Dromios had like a little flower or rose that were a different color. So you could still tell them apart, but they did look similar enough in terms of like costuming that like it's like believable, you know, in world that they would be mistaken for each other, even though it's a comedy and it's silly and it probably wouldn't be able to happen in real life, but like that's part of the joke.
The difference is also they match each other. So the one set of Dromio and Antipholus, one has a red flower and the other has a red brim around the hat. So you can even tell when the wrong Dromio is with the wrong Antipholus and vice versa, and keep track, barely, at least for me. It took me a while to catch on to exactly who was who. Keep track of where they are and who they're interacting with.
I think that since we sat a little farther back, it was harder to tell from where we were sitting. I think if I was sitting closer, it would have been easier to see who was who, but we were sitting kind of far back. Thoughts on performances?
Once again, I feel like it's all the leads who are leads for a reason. They completely nail like the character that they are playing and are able to bring so much comedy and personality to it themselves. And I don't know, maybe I haven't seen enough. We've only seen Coriolanus from them before, but like I'm already starting to feel like I can see a little bit of the actors' personalities in each of the characters that they also play.
I liked seeing Coriolanus and then Comedy of Errors because I liked being able to see the range of the main company members that were in both productions. Both Brent Charles, Patrick Batiste were in both, as well as some other actors, but they played the Antipholuses. But then they were also in Coriolanus as leads. I liked seeing their range on display this summer in terms of getting to see them both in a tragedy and getting to see them in a comedy. But most of the company, I think, were in both productions, except for maybe the Dromios. I don't know. They were new additions, but they were very good.
I was going to say, the Dromios stood out to me because they bring a lot of the physical comedy, not quite like slapstick, but that kind of over-exaggerated, kind of cartoony movements that kind of help with the comedy coming from the Antipholus side. The Antipholus comedy mainly came from like misunderstanding, wordplay, that kind of thing, and the Dromios brought more of the physical comedy to the production.
Yeah, I think in other productions I've seen of Shakespearean comedies, slapstick does play a big part in it, especially with like servant characters. And I think it really worked here because they were very funny. I also wanted to highlight Bukola Ogunmola, who played Adriana. I thought she did a great job. I don't believe she was in Coriolanus. I don't remember her being in that production, but I think she was impressive here because I think that can be a challenging role because at first it kind of just seems like the nagging wife kind of stereotype, but I feel like she was able to make her very like sympathetic and funny and charming as well.
You definitely kind of go on this journey with her. At first you're like, why is she so like kind of high strung, and then you realize exactly what her Antipholus is like, and you're like, okay,
it makes sense.
This makes sense. He needs this kind of check in his life.
I think the biggest standout for me was Patrick Batiste this time. I really liked his version of Antipholus. I thought he was really funny and charming, and I think he like nailed all the beats he needed to nail because I think he's just kind of like confused for a lot of the time. Like he shows up for his like vacation or whatever and then immediately gets mistaken for the other Antipholus. But it's funny because he just kind of goes with it. I feel like he managed to like kind of nail that like playfulness and mischievous kind of personality to him where he's like, I'm confused, but like I'm just gonna keep going on with this and see what happens kind of thing.
And this kind of goes into what we were saying during Coriolanus about actors that know how to say Shakespeare lines, where his confusion, even though Shakespeare is written a little differently, than we're used to for modern English. The way that he delivers the lines, you can get a sense of confusion and the inflections on the right part, and you kind of get a sense of exactly where his mindset is at, just based off of also his understanding of delivering Shakespeare lines.
Yeah, I think some of it is also like direction as well, and blocking. Movement, I think, is also a big part of understanding what someone's saying, because body language can tell you a lot about a line and the mindset of a character. Even if somebody may be saying one thing, but their body language tells you another. I think that really helps for those who may not be as familiar with Shakespeare's work to better understand like what's going on. I really like the moment where all the lights turn on.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the show where all these like fairy lights on the trees turn on, and it's really pretty, and it's kind of like a magical moment. As we mentioned in our Coriolanus review, they have free tickets for this production. You can reserve your tickets online. You don't have to pay or anything. They just kind of ask that you let them know how many people are coming so they have an idea. You can also make a donation of $60 a person if you want a actual chair kind of set up on the side of the hill. That gives you a good vantage point. Indie Shakes is a non-profit, so anything that you give to them will go straight to their productions and paying all their artists, which I think is really important right now. Comedy of Errors runs Wednesdays through Sundays through September 6th, so if you get the chance to catch it, I would recommend. I would recommend getting there early if you want a spot close to the stage. We sat a little farther away. They have like a chair line in which, like, if you have chairs, you can sit a little farther back, so you don't block anyone's view. You can bring a picnic and food. They don't sell food there at the show, but they do have a lot of cool merch. They have show-specific t-shirts and like zip-ups, and they also have buckets in which you can donate in person, either through the QR code or with the little cash you might have on you.
Is this one that you recommend that people see?
Yeah, I would recommend it. It's free. It's great that this is like a community event that we have available. I am a big proponent of making theater accessible to everyone because it can get really expensive to go see stuff right now. So I think it's great that we have this available in LA, and I hope that more people check it out. It's a really good experience to just be like sitting with other people in your community, all watching the same thing, enjoying the same show. So I would recommend. It's a thumbs up for me. I would say this one is mostly family friendly as well, so anybody can come see this. In spite of it being a comedy, I think it has a lot of really heartfelt moments, especially the ending. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. The music was super catchy. So yeah, I would recommend seeing it. Would you recommend seeing this production?
Definitely. We've only been to 2 of their productions so far. They've each been fantastic, so I feel like any time they're putting on a production, each one, it's definitely worth checking out.
If you like this review today, you can give us a thumbs up and like the video, or you can subscribe. We post a lot of reviews of different shows and events that we are attending in the Southern California area and beyond. You can also follow us on Instagram at Sarah, S-A-R-A, Offstage. I post pictures and videos of things that we're up to if you want to see more photos and keep up to date with what we're going to be reviewing.